private versus public health care. When we first got here, we had a private health care plan for a year that the way it kind of works out is you end up paying like the full year up front. And our particular plan had a really high deductible, so everything we paid was just kind of out of pocket.
Yeah.
That being said, everything we did out of pocket was fairly affordable. Actually, I say fairly, it actually was very affordable.
Yeah.
Affordable to the degree that we kind of, I don't want to say forgot, but kind of ignored the fact that we had insurance. Because the deductible was so high, we never would actually get to use it unless we had an accident, an emergency.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what we got that plan for anyway.
Yeah. Now, with the private insurance, my understanding, you can, whenever you go to the doctor, you can have them fill out a form, and they can put how much you paid for as a copay. Really isn't a copay, it's just what the cost of service they provide to you. And that can vary anywhere from $20 to $50, depending on what services you're getting. Now, if you're getting a procedure done, that can be higher. But I haven't heard from any of the people we know that they paid thousands of dollars that you would pay in the States. Most of the procedure I've seen or people talked about have been like $1,000 or less.
And these are expats we're talking about.
Yeah, expats. Now, granted, there have been some that were higher, but you know, if it's a one-time thing, I don't think it's gonna make or break you. Maybe some people, but I'm just saying, think about the cost in the States, definitely gonna break you.
You can get a pretty decent procedure done here for less than what it would cost you to ride in an ambulance in the States. You know, so yeah, keep that in mind. If you do have private health insurance, most medical care you can pay for out of pocket as long as you budgeted that, like that, factor that into your budget. If you have certain things that you need, certain medications, certain ailments that you know you're going to need checked on periodically, there's a pretty good chance that you can pay for it out of pocket and it won't break you in the least.
Right. Now, going into our second year, we decided to try out the public healthcare insurance, and it is pretty tedious when you're trying to sign up online. We would put in a link of how we went about doing that. So just to give you an experience that I've had with using the public health care, what was the name of the place? Servadent. Now granted, it's similar to a clinic, but it's a hospital. It's a hospital that have a lot of services. You can get a dental service, sonogram, general practitioner, family practitioner, a lot of things
pretty
right
much
now.
Everything, yeah.
Granted, it's not your typical hospital you see in the States where you go to the desk. There is a desk with, let's say, 2 or 3 ladies there. They sign you in. You need to take a number before you get to that desk. So that number shows up, you go to the person, you give them your cedula, and they register you in, and they'll tell you where you need to go to get your vital signs, to see the doctor. Now, if you're going in with the idea of thinking you're going in a hospital like you see in the U.S., don't.
Yeah, there's a ton of people in there.
There's a ton of people, and you're there to get a service. So you go in, I would say they have at least 2 or 3 people to do your vital sign. And when I say your vital sign, check your blood pressure, your weight, your oxygen levels, in and out. That could be a line, but trust me, that line is going to go like that. Yeah. That's even at the desk that they're registering in. It goes like this.
And it could be a long line, but they're efficient.
They're efficient. Now, you go in, you see your doctor, you talk about whatever, come out. Now, if your doctor schedule you to have lab work or any test done, just know you're gonna have to come back.
The reason you may have to come back is because your appointment time, let's say your appointment time is at 10 o'clock initially. So you go do everything you need to do, sign in, see the doctor. Well, they stop doing labs at 9 a.m. They do them between 7 and 9. So you're not going to be able to do the lab that day if the doctor needs you to do a lab. So just know that the way that this particular hospital, I'm not sure if they all work the same way, but I know it's basically because when you have lab work, you have to fast. So what's the point of having people come in for a lab at noon? You know, they have to go all morning without eating or drinking. So yeah, they only do labs between 7 and 9. So that, yeah, you may very likely need to come back the next day or 2 days later to do your labs early in the morning.
So if you have to have labs done, just know that they're very efficient. When we went to the lab area, there are maybe 2 or 3 people at the desk, and they're calling numbers back. It's no 15, 20-minute wait. You can stand in line, and the line just is really flowing.
Steady.
And if you have to do labs, let's just say if you're doing a urine culture or fecal culture, whatever the case may be, once you get up to the desk, they take everything. They already have lab technicians waiting for you. And I don't mean 1 or 2. It's like 3 or 4 lab technicians that are taking you into different rooms, and it can be 2 at a time, and they are getting you in and out, I have to say that experience was amazing. They're very efficient when it comes to getting people in and out and not having to wait all day.
What's crazy is that when we got to the lab area and we saw the line, because I think it was around like 8:30, you know, they stopped doing them at 9. We saw the line, we were like, oh my goodness, we should have got here earlier. This line was so deep. This line was so long.
Very long. But when I tell you, we got to the desk, my number was not within 10 minutes.
Yeah, about 10 minutes.
So and my number was not a low number. So
we got this. They called your name like 1 minute late information.
If it was a minute, but yes. So if you have, let's say if you're going for, like I needed to have a sonogram. Literally, I got there early. I was seen maybe 10 minutes after my appointment, only because I didn't know exactly where I needed to go, so I wanted to ask where did I need to go. But if I had not asked, I would have been there right at my scheduled time and probably out. But either way, the little 10 minutes that I did wait and went in to be examined, what was that? What I was in there probably 5-10 minutes?
I don't even. You know what? It wasn't long. I know that. It wasn't long.
Because he was standing up.
I was standing up outside the door.
So it wasn't a long time. And granted, I would say I've heard some horror stories, but my experience
wasn't a horror
story. Hopefully in the future we won't have any horror stories, but I would say they were very efficient. I was pleased with my experience of having lab work done and just in and out.
What about the payment structure when it comes to IESS?
How I do it, I have them take the payment out of my account, like automatically. I don't know any other way. I just set it up to have it come out of my bank account. So that's a monthly thing. And if you want to do a comparison with the private insurance and the public health insurance, you have that upfront cost, like you said, that you have to pay the private insurance. That some people may find it off-putting, depending on what level of insurance, private insurance you get. So that's an upfront cost. With IESS, it's a monthly payment that I pay every month. Now, let me just say this: I had no co-pays when I went to the doctor. Now, I don't know down the road if I would have
like invoices
or anything that may come later. I don't know, but far as paying a copay or paying for my medication, I did not have to pay. And they also had a pharmacy inside the hospital, so you can just go straight over to the pharmacy and get your medicine, you show them your cedula, and the doctor has put, they go get it, they hand it to you, you sign your name, they go get it, and you leave with it on the paper. It has instructions on how you take your medicine. So for us, I mean, so far so good, but just know that it's a monthly premium you pay every month, which can be, I guess, the way I look at it, it's a cost that you pay over time, even though you pay upfront with the private health insurance. But when you go to the doctor, you still having that out-of-pocket expense that may be covered or will help you get to that deductible, whatever your deductible will be. I don't know. I mean, for us, we would never got there.
Right.
So
and the flip side is, if you have to have some procedure done and you have it done through IESS, you're not paying anything up front. And that's kind of the bonus, the good part of having the public health insurance. You're not having those upfront costs. Now, like we said, as far as we know, you're not paying anything, but we never know down the road. We may get an email or something like that. But just from our experience so far, that's the case. With the signing up for IESS, I know some people ask, well, how much you're going to pay? Well, that's strictly based on how you sign up.
Yeah.
And which information you input.
Yeah.
So we'll have the video. I'll have the video at the end of this video, and I'll attach the video itself in the description of our sign-up process. So like I said, it depends on the information you put in, your age and everything for the IESS, and that determines how much you pay. It's not a crazy amount, so that's why everyone benefits will determine how much you pay for the IESS.
Right now, the other side of that, the convenience of going to a doctor that you pick on your own is much easier because that doctor is seeing you and you have a particular time. Now, I did have a appointment, but I had to go through the registration desk to get registered. But let me just say this. Both experiences were good for me, and I would say, was it good for you?
Yeah.
The convenience of I think you can build a rapport with your doctor if you go on a regular basis.
Yeah, this is the private doctor, not the IESS doctor.
Right, because your private doctor, you can text them.
Yeah.
Now, let's just say with IES, I don't know if I would continue with the same physician that I have. We'll see how as time goes by, because it was just my first visit, and I had to have a friend interpret for me.
And to actually get the appointment to begin with, how'd you do that?
Oh, so you have to go online. You have to schedule your appointments online through IESS. They have a list. Now, let me just say this. The first time I went, I could not find any doctors. In Salinas, Santa Elena, La Libertad. Now, a lot of them showed up in Ancon. And so I was like, I'm never going to get an appointment. I came out and told him, I said, there were no appointments available. I don't know. What's the point? Later on, I went back. I think I went the next day.
It was like the next day, yeah.
Okay, I went back the next day. Oh, it was a list of them. And you could choose what doctor you want to see, what time you want to go, what date you want to go, all of that. It's almost like you're your own appointment scheduler. Yeah. So you just pick who you want to see, what time you want to go, what day you want to go. And that's it. And then you get an email once you select the time, the date, the doctor. You get an email confirming your selection, and you take that and you can show that to the person at the front desk. That you have this email, and you go from there. If you have any questions about IESS, I won't be able to answer. Okay. So you would either go to their website or look to see if they have any FAQs.
Yeah.
But I am not experienced with IESS. This was trial and error. So just so happened, it was a good experience.
Yeah, we're learning actually. So as our experience grows, we'll try to impart more information to the viewers. But yeah, we definitely wanted to speak on that because it's something that we've been here for a year and a half and had never actually used the public health insurance until now. So yeah, if you do have questions, like Sean said, check the website. It's in Spanish. You can translate it.
Yeah.
It is confusing if it's your first time on that website. Created the video we did. So check out that video if you want to learn how to sign up. If you're considering moving to Ecuador and you want to see what it's like to sign up for IESS and listen to our experience on using it and using the public health insurance, stay tuned. We're going to definitely going to have at least one more video about this after we,
hopefully.
have done. Yeah.
Wait. I don't know. Is that a good thing?
Well,
if we have a duck, because that means it didn't go well.
No, well, maybe because we still have another appointment to go to. That we have to see what happens with that and see what goes on from there. But anyways, just experiencing the whole system and seeing how it works out.
And like we said, it wasn't a bad experience. It was definitely a good experience because when we went back the second time, I didn't have my friends. We wanted to experience going by ourselves.
Yeah, it was an adventure.
It was an adventure, but it was a good adventure because the guard, let's say the security guard, he actually told us where we need to go when we first got there. Because I think maybe he knew we didn't know where we were going.
Yeah, and the line, I think he was trying to keep the lines focused because there's multiple lines in that lobby.
It was a line for the registration desk and for the vitals.
So like, there's two ticket things. One is for labs. So we pulled the lab one. We got ready to stand in the line that was in the lobby. Laboratoria immediately told us that way. Laboratoria, and we're like, oh my goodness, that way. Luckily he did. We're like, oh my goodness, he could have just ignored us. We would have been in the wrong line. Because he could have just ignored 20 minutes. We would have been in the wrong line. Missed the whole lab. Missed the whole lab. So yeah, it was an experience. But so yeah, it was it's a learning thing, and we learned a lot. So now we know next time.
And just the fact that he was being helpful to tell us.
Right, because he didn't have to. There's a ton of people in there. He did not have to help us at all.
And when I got there, that's why I was like, oh my gosh, we should have came early because that was a very, very, very long line. And that was the line before we even got to the lab.
Right.
And then we was like, oh.
That guy's there when we go back. I bring him a Coca-Cola or something.
But yeah, so that was our experience and nothing negative, all good.
So
until next time.
That's right. Stay tuned. Check our merch stores. Hit like, share, subscribe, and we'll be back soon. Bye.
You have completed the initial sign up. Next, ensure you have the funds in your account for your monthly payment. Be sure to check your account 2 days later to make sure the funds have been withdrawn. Finally, after your 90-day waiting period, you will be able to schedule your first appointment. FYI, if you have a spouse and you would like to add them to your IESS, you will have to go into your local office. Be mindful you may have to bring your marriage certificate if your spouse's name is not on your cedula.